The most popular YouTuber in today's era is MrBeast with almost 250 million subscribers. While he's primarily known for his outrageous challenges, high-stakes competitions, and general philanthropy, you might be surprised to learn that he used to upload Pokémon battles 8 years ago, when his channel was still gaining its footing. 10 of his first 24 videos on the channel were spent on Pokémon Showdown, an online Pokémon battle simulator. Most of the videos were replaying his battles in the UU tier, UU standing for underused. And that brings me to this video's challenge. Can I beat Pokémon Emerald as MrBeast, using his 6 Pokémon from the UU team? Well, Chandelure and Bronzong aren't available in Generation 3, leaving just the other 4. It's not a MrBeast video without a challenge, so I'll be playing with hardcore NUZLOCKE rules, meaning items can't be used in battle, Pokémon can't be leveled up past the upcoming gym leader's highest level Pokémon, and set mode must be turned on. I also made a few modifications to the game, some of which further enhance the difficulty, and some of which further enhance your entertainment. Let's see how the run went. The 7-character limit doesn't stop me from naming myself MrBeast, and I begin my journey. Professor Birch gets attacked by a Zigzagoon, so I've gotta rescue him. My starter choices are the Grass-type Trico, the Fire-type Torchic, and the Water-type Squirtle. Squirtle was the only one of the 4 Pokemon I had to add in, as the other 3 are obtainable through normal gameplay. Zigzagoon falls, and I nicknamed Squirtle Mrs. Turtle. As you can see, I start the game with about $997,000 more than I should, which should allow me to buy whatever I want. On Route 103, I battle May. The 2-level difference allows Squirtle to defeat Trico easily, and as a reward, I give $49,999 to May, leaving me with $950,000. Every time I win a battle, I lose 5% of my money. That means I should just use all my money as soon as possible then, right? Nope, I can't buy any items except for repels, which block wild encounters. The only other items that can be bought are vitamins and TMs, which are only accessible in the Lily Cove department store, following the 5th gym. I also had to make the resale value of repels 0 in order to cover the loophole of just buying 1,000 repels and selling them later to recoup half the losses. Hopefully, I can save enough money until I can buy the good stuff. I avoid 3 of the 4 trainers on Route 102 and reach Petalburg City. Does my reflection show a shining grin full of hope, or a look of somber silence struggling with fear? How about an image that embodies fear itself, thanks to minimalistic sprite work? Team Aqua attacks for the first time in Petalburg Woods, but Squirtle's level advantage allows it to make quick work of the Grunt's Poochyena. Once I reach Rustboro City, I finish training Squirtle in preparation for the first gym leader, Roxanne. Roxanne has 2 Geodudes and 1 Nosepass. A couple quad-effective water guns take out the Geodudes, but Nosepass is a bit trickier. I gave Squirtle an Oranberry before the battle, which allows it to recover 10 HP once it falls below 50%. As long as 2 80% accurate Rock Tombs do not both land critical hits, this fight can be won by spamming Water Gun. Nosepass burns its first turn using Block, misses Rock Tomb on the second, misses another Rock Tomb on the third, actually hits one following a potion, and finally succumbs after using Tackle. Even if those Rock Tombs had hit, Squirtle's HP would have probably fallen to below 1/3 of its total at some point, activating its ability Torrent and boosting water damage by 50%. Squirtle evolves and someone's goods get taken. In Rustboro Tunnel, I rescue both the goods and Mr. Briny's Wingull, Pico, which has a closer name to its cry than anything else in the game. Mr. Briny ferries me over to Dewford Town where I can catch my second Pokemon, Makuhita. I name it Mr. Hands, then check its stats after a bit of training. Thick Fat is an alright ability as it halves the damage taken from fire and ice-type moves. However, the other possible ability, Guts, would have been much better. Guts raises attack by 50% when paralyzed, poisoned, or burned. A sassy nature isn't great either, dropping Makuhita's underwhelming speed even further. All in all, a bottom percentile Makuhita. I tried to EV train both of my Pokemon in defense by battling Silcoons, Cascoons, and Aerons, since all of Brawly's fighting types use physical attacks. I can't let either one faint for their next few gyms, since they will be my only Pokemon for the first half of the game. Makuhita learns Fake Out at level 19, a 40 base power move that basically grants you an extra turn by always going first and flinching the opponent, given that you use it on the one turn that your Pokemon is sent out. I give each Pokemon an Oranberry, switch Makuhita to the front of my party, and begin the second gym battle. Fake Out chips Machop for free on turn 1, but it fires back with a Karate Chop on turn 2. Vital Throw is a strong 70 base power move that never misses, but always goes last. I was hoping that it would put Machop into healing range, forcing Brawly to use one of his 2 super potions, but no dice. Another Karate Chop takes Makuhita to just about 1/3 of its remaining HP, and Machop goes down. The Oranberry recovers 10 HP, but might be too little too late. Brawly sends out Meditite next, but its only attacking move is Focus Punch. This is a 150 base power move, but only activates if the user is not attacked during that turn. So as long as I keep attacking, Meditite can't attack. I repeatedly use my weakest move, Arm Thrust, to bring Meditite into healing range. Brawly doesn't use a healing item during the second round though, leaving him with one for his ace, another Makuhita. My Makuhita survives Vital Throw with just 2 HP and fires back with one that does 50% to Brawly's Makuhita. Unfortunately, this Pokemon has a Citrus Berry, which fully heals it. Before Generation 4, Citrus Berries would heal 30 HP rather than the 25% that they currently heal. I have to switch to Wartortle, which takes 16 HP from a Vital Throw. I want to increase my chances of having 2 turns of Torrent, so I set up a Withdraw to boost defense by 50%. The second Vital Throw only deals 10. And the third Vital Throw lands a critical hit, which ignores defense boosts. New run. I accidentally named this Squirtle Mr. Beast, so it's stuck like that until I can access Slateport City. Deviating from the previous run's plan, I catch a private jet in case I need help staying under the level cap. I won't use it until absolutely necessary though. In Granite Cave, I catch a Makuhita. Its ability is again Thick Fat, but at least the nature is better. After delivering the letter to Steven in Granite Cave, I received the EXP share from his dad in Devon Corp. I also gained access to Slateport City through that delivery, allowing Mr. Beast to become Mr. Turtle. I brought both of my Pokemon to the edge of level 19, so any battle experience should level them up. This fight starts more favorably than the last, with Karate Chop doing 1 less damage and Vital Throw actually bringing Machop into healing range. I was locked into the plan of getting both of my Pokemon a level up on Makuhita, so I switched in Wartortle, taking very little from Blow Kick. After one withdraw, Machop uses its best possible move in this situation, Seismic Toss, which always deals damage equal to the user's level. Machop is not in guaranteed Water Gun range, but I use it anyways, picking up the KO with a lucky critical hit. I think Bite would have definitely been better there, as I could have at least picked up the flinch 30% of the time. Either way, I just need to make sure Brawly uses a Super Potion on Meditite. A couple bites force Brawly to heal, and a few more attacks KO it. Only Focus Punch was ever used, so maybe Wartortle was in range of being KO'd. A good rule of thumb for opposing trainer AI is that if they see a KO, they will go for it. Water Gun deals about a third to Makuhita, which uses Bulk Up to raise its attack and defense. We trade attacks and eat our berries, though one is 20 points inferior. Barring any crits, this battle should be won. Makuhita's next Vital Throw just barely misses putting Wartortle into Torrent range, so I need to play this last turn carefully. If I use Water Gun and miss out on the KO by 1 or 2 HP, Makuhita will be able to use a 200 base power reversal. I choose to withdraw Wartortle from this turn, which proves to be the correct decision. Now in Torrent range, Water Gun picks up the knockout. In Slateport City, I defeat Team Aqua for a 3rd time and deliver the goods to Captain Stern. The Route 110 battle with May is one of the most difficult battles in Pokemon speedrun history. Although I'm not a speedrunner, this battle should be pretty difficult on the surface level, given that my starter is a water type. If I win this fight, there's nearly a straight line available from there to the 3rd gym leader, Watson. Watson's level cap is 24, the same level that Makuhita evolves. You can see where this is going. Once Makuhita has evolved, I give the EXP share to Mr. Turtle and battle May. Wingull almost faints to Fake Out alone, then falls to Vital Throw. I swap in Wartortle to fight Slugma. This battle lasts for 6 turns thanks to yawns and excessive sleep turns. I swap back into Hariyama to fight Grovyle, which deals 7 damage to Hariyama with Absorb. 1 Fake Out and 1 Vital Throw later, this battle is over. In Marvel City, I fight Wally and his Ralts for the first time. 1 bite knocks it out. I taught Hariyama the Bulk Up TM and gave it a Cherry Berry in preparation for Watson. A Cherry Berry heals paralysis if inflicted, which a lot of Watson's Pokemon can do. I need to knock out Voltorb right away since I want to minimize the chance of it paralyzing me with Spark or dealing a chunk of damage with Self-Destruct. It only has the ability Soundproof, so I should be fine making contact. Spark doesn't paralyze, and down goes Voltorb. Electric has Static, but no Spark. It sets up a few Howls, and I set up a few Bulk Ups. Vital Throw easily KOs Electric on the 3rd turn. Electric did not want to attack, though I doubt Shockwave or Quick Attack would have done much anyways. With only 2 Pokemon left, paralysis is not a concern thanks to Hariyama's Cherry Berry. Magneton uses Sonic Boom instead of Shockwave, then faints to just 2 Arm Thrust hits. Manectric uses Howl, and faints to 1 Vital Throw. If you're curious, Shockwaves from Magneton and Manectric would have done between 23 and 31 damage barring crits. A pretty lucky battle overall, but a lot had to go wrong for me to lose that. Next up is maybe the longest stretch of exploration between gyms. Route 112, Fiery Path, Route 113, Fall Arbor Town, Route 114, Meteor Falls, and back to Route 112 to battle Team Magma on Mount Chimney. It's kinda funny to think about how Team Aqua would have just been at this location in Pokemon Sapphire. A literal volcano. My evolved Pokemon are just better than Tabitha's unevolved ones, so that battle ends in a few turns. Maxie is a tougher opponent. He starts out with Mightyena, which lowers Hariyama's attack with the ability Intimidate. Fake Out and Arm Thrust bring Mightyena low, while Bite barely leaves a mark. Maxi heals, allowing me to set up a bulk up, raising Hariyama's attack and defense by 1 stage each, which in this case is 50% each. Arm Thrust rolls only 2 hits, as Mightyena uses Sand Attack to lower Hariyama's accuracy. I set up another bulk up to prepare for an incoming Zubat, and eventually KO Mightyena. Zubat's Supersonic confuses me because I didn't have the foresight to give Hariyama a Persim Berry. After 1 Vital Throw, Hariyama hits itself in confusion, putting it in range of a critical hit from Wing Attack, if it wasn't there already. Wing Attack doesn't crit fortunately, so I can switch out into War Turtle. Water Gun KOs Zubat from there. It removes a large portion of Camerup's HP as well, at no cost due to Camerup's non-damaging move choice of Focus Energy. I win the battle the next turn, and collect my prize, the Meteorite. A downhill sprint on Jagged Pass leaves me at Lava Ridge Town, the location of the 4th gym leader. I grabbed the TM for Dig when I was in Fall Arbor Town, so I wouldn't have to rely on Hariyama's low priority Vital Throw for this battle. It's actually faster than all 4 of Flannery's Pokemon, none of which have the ability Flame Body, which could potentially cause a burn that would have Hariyama's attack. Flannery leads with Numel, which has the moves Overheat, Takedown, Magnitude, and Sunny Day. Sunny Day combined with a 130 base power Overheat initially seems scary, but not when you remember Hariyama's ability, Thick Fat. Again, this ability has the damage that Fire and Ice type moves deal. Numel uses 2 weak Magnitudes, 1 Takedown that whiffs, and 1 Sunny Day, while Hariyama sets up 4 bulk ups, tripling its attack. Dig KOs Numel, Slugma, and Camerupt, while leaving Torkoal with just 10% of its HP. Unfortunately, Torkoal paralyzes Hariyama with Body Slam on the same turn. No point in risking 2 turns for full paralysis by using Dig, so I just start clicking Vital Throw instead. After a couple potion cycles, Hariyama KOs Torkoal. Flannery didn't use Overheat that entire battle, so maybe opponents are just programmed to not use Fire-type moves on Pokemon with Thick Fat. On Route 114, I grab a few more Persim Berries and head back to Petalburg to challenge the 5th gym leader, Norman. He's got 4 normal types, which would normally be good for a fighting type such as Hariyama. However, Hariyama will now be the slowest Pokemon for most of the battle, unlike last time. 2 of his Pokemon have the move Slash, a 70 base power move that will crit 12.5% of the time. The increased critical hit chance means that spending turns boosting defense with Bulk Up can be exploited. Norman leads with Spinda, the only Pokemon Hariyama can outspeed this battle. Spinda will either use Teeter Dance or Psybeam. Psybeam won't do much damage even though it's super effective, but Teeter Dance is preferable since it won't do any damage at all. Hariyama chips Spinda with Fake Out and sets up a Bulk Up the next. Spinda goes for Teeter Dance, but the Persim Berry snaps Hariyama out of confusion. Dig KOs Spinda in the following sequence. Next is Vigoroth, one of the 2 Pokemon with Slash. It's equally as likely to use Facade though, another 70 base power move. I need to set up 2 more bulk ups for the rest of this battle, so as long as 2 of Norman's attacks do not crit, I should be good. Vigoroth uses Facade, and bulk up 2 goes up. The first Slash doesn't crit, so Hariyama is now set up for the rest of the battle, with its attack and defense sitting at 2.5 times their original values. Vigoroth's second Slash doesn't crit either, and it falls to Vital Throw. Lanoon will meet the same fate as Vigoroth, but its first Slash actually does crit, leaving Hariyama with just 29 HP. Norman's Ace is Slaking, a Pokemon with an absurd base attack set of 160. Still not strong enough to KO my +3 defense Hariyama though. It goes for Yawn, meaning it didn't see a KO with Facade, then gets knocked out by Vital Throw. I didn't level up either of my Pokemon to their absolute limits since the next level cap is 33, just 2 higher than Norman's. Wally's dad gives me the HM for Surf, which serves as a huge buff to War Turtle. In this game, Surf is a 95 base power water type move that hits both opponents but ignores allies in double battles. So Hariyama wouldn't be affected in those situations. I surf towards Slateport City, then head southwest towards Route 107 and the abandoned ship. In a storage room, I find the TM for Ice Beam, another buff to War Turtle. Technically, I could have gotten it from the game corner in Marvel City for a ton of money, but considering all the cast restrictions that I implemented preceding the Lily Cove department store, buying that TM would have felt a little bit sleazy. 95% of the remaining story takes place east of Marvel City, so I surf east towards Route 118. After speeding through Route 119, I reach the Weather Institute, which Team Aqua has taken over. The usual Zubats, Poochyenas, and Carvanas are still underwhelming. The admin Shelly at least has a Mightyena. Her Carvana faints to a bulked up Dig, while Mightyena faints to Vital Throw on the following turn. For my efforts, the research team gives me a cast form, which I name Antarctica. I remove its Mystic Water, an item that boosts water type damage by 10%. Pretty good for War Turtle. War Turtle is getting precariously close to the level cap though, so I can't use it in any of the upcoming single battles, including against May. Hariyama is a tank, so Slugma, Lombre, and Grovyle all eventually faint without causing too much damage. Following that battle, I arrive at Fortree City. There are 2 mandatory battles in the Fortree Gym, but one of them is a double battle, meaning War Turtle will have to participate. So I've got no choice but to use my private jet to absorb some EXP. The battle ends with Wartortle 51 experience points away from level 34. Before battling Winona and her flying types, I teach Hariyama Secret Power, a 70 base power normal type move. I could have taught it the much stronger 102 base power return instead, but I forgot that I could get that TM from Professor Cosmo in Fall Arbor Town in exchange for the meteorite for Mount Chimney. This is literally the pinned comment in my other video playing through Emerald. The one thing Secret Power has over return is that it has, well, secret powers depending on the terrain. After giving Hariyama a Persimberry, I can begin the battle. Swablu is Winona's weakest Pokemon, being the only pre-evolution on her team. 3 of its 4 moves are easy to deal with. Safeguard stops status effects, and Mirror Move will just copy whatever attack I use last, and Aerial Ace won't do significant damage after 1 bulk up. Its last move, however, is Perish Song. When Perish Song is used, both Pokemon on the field are put on a timer of 3 turns before they faint. This means Hariyama would have to switch out shortly after and lose all of its potential stat boosts. Wartortle can deal with most of Winona's other Pokemon pretty easily, so I decide that there's no harm in trying to set up 2 bulk ups. If Swablu uses Perish Song, I can just switch out. Fake out Chip Swablu on turn 1, and bulk up raises Hariyama's attack and defense on turn 2. Swablu uses Safeguard. I risk 1 more, and Swablu uses Mirror Move, copying a fake out that always fails if not used on turn 1. That should set me up for the majority of the battle. Secret Power KOs Swablu, and Winona sends out Skarmory. Aerial Ace does a small chunk of damage to Hariyama, as Vital Throw appears to deal a little more than 75%. I expect Winona to use a potion, so I use Vital Throw again rather than Secret Power, which would have gone first. Because of its type ineffectiveness and the lack of stab, Secret Power would deal around 1/3 of the damage to Skarmory that Vital Throw would deal. Using Vital Throw turns out to be the correct decision in a roundabout manner, since Winona does not heal, firing an Aerial Ace instead. Tropius is next. Secret Power's effect is actually relevant here, since in this terrain it can cause paralysis 30% of the time. Tropius has the move Sunny Day, which can double its speed due to Chlorophyll. Paralysis quarter speed, so Chlorophyll would not matter. Secret Power doesn't paralyze Tropius, but it uses a raw Solar Beam, which requires 2 turns to fire unless the user is in harsh sunlight. If Tropius had used Sunny Day, it could have both doubled its speed and used a 1-turn Solar Beam on the following turn. While it would not have KO'd Hariyama, it would have brought it to 1 or 2 attacks from that fate. Pelipper is next, and I expect it to use Supersonic, which will fail to confuse Hariyama because of the Persimberry. It never even gets to that point though, as Secret Power paralyzes Pelipper, preventing it from moving. Protect blocks the second Secret Power, but not the third, leaving Altaria. Altaria is the only Pokemon on Winona's team faster than Hariyama, so another paralysis would be great here. Altaria's Dragon Breath can also cause paralysis though, unfortunately. Dragon Breath puts me in range of a critical hit, then the first Secret Power deals about 50%, activating Altaria's Oranberry. I debate switching into Wartortle since Altaria is in range of Ice Beam. If Dragon Breath crits or paralyzes Wartortle, I'll be in pretty bad shape since I forgot to give it an item. Switching would have been the correct move since Altaria uses Dragon Dance to raise its attack and speed by 1 stage each. Secret Power just barely whiffs a KO, so Winona will be forced to heal on the next turn. The next Secret Power doesn't paralyze Altaria, but it puts it in definitive range of 1 more. Altaria uses Aerial Ace, leaving Hariyama with just 14 HP remaining. I ironically didn't have to use Wartortle, though that situation was mostly opened up by not getting bad luck. I speed through Route 120 and 121, then surf across to Mount Pyre, where Team Aqua steals the wrong orb from behind an old couple, as did Team Magma a while before that. What's even the point of guarding the orbs if you're just gonna go 0 for 2? The couples give me an emblem that I can use to break into Team Magma's hideout, but I've got a couple other tasks I want to complete first. I head east to Lilycope City, where I defeat May to unlock the department store. I also enter the Pokemon Contest Hall to obtain the Pokeblock case, which will allow me to enter the Safari Zone, where my final 2 encounters lie. Technically, I could have entered before battling Winona, but I did not come to that realization in time. The first of these 2 Pokemon is Heracross, arguably the strongest Pokemon I can have in terms of sheer power. The second is Xatu, though I'll need to evolve this Natu first. I named them Mr. Beetle and Miss Quetzal, respectively. Heracross has its best possible ability, Guts, but is modest-natured, meaning its attack is down and special attack is up. That's annoying, but at least one of my Pokemon has a top 5 ability in the game. In preparation for the 7th gym, I climb Mount Pyre again, but through the second route. At the top of the inside portion, I find the TM for Shadow Ball. Even though Shadow Ball is a physical attack, thanks to the lack of a physical special split, there aren't many super effective attacks against psychic types that Xatu can learn in this game. I also taught Xatu Fly, both for traveling purposes and the fact that it's the best flying type move available now. Xatu's learn set is genuine garbage. Wartortle evolves into Blastoise, and all of a sudden, my team looks pretty formidable. While I technically can buy some TMs, none of them are really useful to me right now. Instead, I sell some of my items to buy vitamins, which can speed up EV training now and later in the game. I fly to Loveridge Town and enter the Magma hideout found on Jagged Pass. I defeat some of the grunts, then head back out to start EV training my Pokemon. Blastoise and Hariyama already have plenty of useless ones from all the mandatory battles they've participated in, so I need to make sure the last few they learn are pretty useful. Route 120 is where I'm going to spend most of my time EV training, since Mightyena and Absol both award 2 attack EVs, helping Hariyama, Heracross, and Xatu even with its mediocre base attack of 75. Once I've sufficiently trained up my team, I head over to the Jagged Pass and enter the Magma Hideout. Magma admin Tabitha leads with Numel, which feints to 1 Brick Break from Heracross. Strength flattens Zubat, and I swap in Blastoise as Tabitha's Camerupt uses a harmless Focus Energy. Surf deals 300%, and I switch back to Heracross to fight Tabitha's Mightyena. Swagger confuses Heracross, but I can easily fix that by switching back into Blastoise. A Mystic Water boosted Surf KOs Mightyena to win the battle. Before fighting Maxie, I give both Blastoise and Heracross Persim Berries since 2 of Maxie's 3 Pokemon have the ability to cause confusion. Maxie sends Groudon into orbit, and we start our battle. Heracross isn't strong enough to knock out Mightyena in one hit due to Intimidate dropping its attack, so hopefully I can at least force Maxie to burn a few potions. Mightyena uses Scary Face, allowing it to attack first in a future turn by means of having Heracross's speed. Maxie uses his first Super Potion, but I get some additional damage in during the second half of the turn. Mightyena uses Swagger, burning through a Persim Berry, then feints to a 3rd Brick Break. Maxie sends out Crobat, which has 2 4-time super effective flying type attacks, so I've got to switch out. While it might be tempting, I don't want to burn my Persim Berry just yet. If I switch into another Pokemon before Blastoise and Crobat uses Confuse Ray, I can just switch into Blastoise again the following turn, since there's no point in using Confuse Ray on an already confused target. I switch into Xatu, and Crobat uses one of its flying moves as expected. Crobat will either use Confuse Ray or Bite here, the latter of which can actually KO Xatu with a crit. If I get any amount of damage though, I always win this fight. I lose the initial gamble with Crobat using Bite, but get lucky and avoid a crit or flinch. Nightshade trips Crobat, and I switch into Blastoise on a guaranteed attack turn given that Xatu is in range of being KO'd. Bite does almost no damage. Air Cutter fares a bit better, but Blastoise's Ice Beam removes almost the entirety of Crobat's health bar. That's potion range, so the next Ice Beam picks up the knockout. Camerupt gets swept away, and that's 1 hideout infiltration complete. Team Aqua hijacks Captain Stern's submarine and travels back to their hideout near Lilycove City. Matt is the admin here and claims to be a cut above the other grunts I've seen. I mean, I guess he had a Golbat instead of a Zubat? He also did actually complete his assignment, letting Archie escape with the submarine. You go, Matt. The next gym has a chance of being extremely tough due to being a double battle. While Blastoise hits 3 out of Tate and Liza's 4 Pokemon super effectively, a few of them know Sunny Day, which halves the power of water-type attacks. However, Blastoise learns Rain Dance at level 42, conveniently the exact level cap for this gym. I use the move deleter to get rid of Rock Smash, then learn Rain Dance upon using a rare candy to get to level 42. Hariyama and Heracross aren't great against Psychic types, so hopefully I can get away with just using Blastoise and Xatu. Tate and Liza lead with Xatu and Claydol. Their Xatu knows Sunny Day, but Blastoise is slower, so it should always win the Weather War. My Xatu is faster than their Xatu, meaning Shadow Ball should be able to KO it in 2 turns, barring the use of a potion. Shadow Ball deals about 70%, and their Xatu uses Calm Mind, raising its special attack and special defense by 50% each. Rain Dance goes up, boosting Water-type attacks by 50%. Claydol uses Earthquake, but only Blastoise is actually affected by it due to Xatu's being Flying type. The interesting thing about doubles in Generation 3 is that a trainer's new Pokemon are sent out immediately following one of their Pokemon fainting on the field, even mid-turn, so I can take advantage of this. Shadow Ball KOs Xatu, forcing Solrock into a boosted Surf. As mentioned before, Surf is also assisted by Gen 3 mechanics since it only hits the opponents. In current gens, Surf hits your partner as well. Surf takes out a combined 75% of the opposing field's total health. Earthquake deals another chunk of damage to Blastoise, and Solrock eats its Citrus Berry at the end of the turn. I want to force Lunatone out on the next Surf, so I have Xatu use Shadow Ball to take out Solrock. Surf knocks out Claydol and deals another huge chunk to Lunatone. Shadow Ball takes out the remainder of Lunatone's HP post-Berry to win me my 7th badge. Team Magma's final act is an invasion of the Moss Deep Space Center. I have to team up with Steven to fight Maxie and Tabitha. They lead with Camerupt and Mightyena, while we lead with Blastoise and Metang. I set up Rain Dance, while Mightyena temporarily confuses me with Swagger thanks to a Persim Berry. Metang boosts our special defense with Light Screen, and Camerupt boosts its special defense with Amnesia to complete the turn. On the next turn, Blastoise knocks out Camerupt with Surf, while dealing heavy damage to Mightyena. Scary Face cuts my speed in half, and Metang's Metal Claw falls short of knocking out Mightyena. Maxie willingly swaps out into Camerupt for some reason, while Tabitha's Golbat deals a small amount of damage with Wing Attack. Metang gets an attack boost following another Metal Claw, while Surf KOs Camerupt and deals 50% to Golbat. Maxie switches back into his 5% Mightyena. Golbat hits Blastoise with Wing Attack and Mightyena confuses Metang using Swagger. Metang breaks through and KOs Golbat with Psychic, forcing Tabitha's own Mightyena to take some free damage from Surf. Maxie sends out his own final Pokemon, Crobat. I switch Hariyama in to take a potential Swagger or Confuse Ray, but Crobat hits Metang with Wing Attack while Metang outspeeds and KOs Mightyena with a +3 attack boosted Metal Claw. The rest of the battle is pretty straightforward, as Xatu eventually knocks out Crobat with Shadow Ball. That's all for Team Magma this game, but there's still one Team Aqua episode left. South of Moss Deep City, there's a place where I can dive and resurface in the Seafoam Caverns. There are a lot of words in this game that I mispronounced or misread as a kid, which isn't surprising given that this was probably the first form of media I saw them in. I used to say Seafloam instead of Seafoam, Facade instead of Facade, and Fatigue instead of Fatigue. Comment below if you can remember an experience like this before. I teach Heracross its third HM move to break some rocks, get a PR in the boulder puzzle, pick up the TM for Earthquake, and encounter Archie. Archie has the same Pokemon as Maxie, save for a Sharpedo over Camerupt. Heracross's Brick Break KOs Mightyena thanks to a critical hit, leading Archie to send out Crobat. I switch to Blastoise, which easily takes an Air Cutter. Another Air Cutter fails to deal much damage, and Ice Beam deals 90% back, along with a Freeze for good measure. Not that it matters, as Archie would have healed with a Super Potion anyways. A second Ice Beam knocks Crobat out. I swap Heracross back in to fight Sharpedo, and after one final slash, Brick Break takes down the Team Aqua boss. Kyogre also gets sent into orbit. Both legendaries surface in Sootopolis, where they have a dance battle. Kyogre was treated a lot better in Generation 3 than Groudon. Super effective damage, a corresponding evil team that lasts longer, and a lot more space to move around in. Groudon quite literally does not have much ground to stand on. Steven takes me to the Cave of Origin, where the champion, Wallace, recommends that I find Rayquaza. Near Pacific Log Town, southwest of my current location, I can visit the Sky Pillar, home of Rayquaza. Archie and Maxie apologize for being 30-year-old babies, then disappear forever. I grab the TM for Brick Break from a black belt in a house nearby, then teach it to Hariyama, replacing Vital Throw. Once my Pokemon are sufficiently leveled up, I give Hariyama an Aspir Berry in case it gets frozen, then head over to the Sootopolis gym to pick up my 8th badge. Before reaching the gym leader, Juan, I fill out the rest of my item slots, giving Xatu an Aspir Berry. I also teach it Aerial Ace over Nightshade. I haven't been feeling like Mr. Beast lately, so I decide to change that by surprising Juan with a shopping spree, allowing him to buy anything he wants from the Pokemart within a 5-minute time frame. As a token of his appreciation, he gives me the final badge, then heads out to enjoy his opportunity. After toiling through the basement trainers, I reach the front of the gym, where Juan is stationary. Juan decides that he needs to be a fair gym leader and takes the rain badge back. Too good to be true. Juan sends out Love Disc, while I send out Hariyama. Fake Out deals way too much to Love Disc, but it confuses me with Sweet Kiss on the following turn. Hariyama breaks through and breaks Love Disc. I don't want to battle Whiscash Confuse, so I switch into Xatu. Whiscash sets up Brain Dance on its free turn. I'm guaranteed to level critical hit Water Pulse, so I spend the turn setting up Wish to make sure Hariyama will be back at full health when it switches in. Wish is a move that heals the Pokemon in battle by 50% on the following turn, regardless of if the user is still on the field. Hariyama doesn't get confused by Water Pulse fortunately, and regains all its health. Fake Out deals a chunk to Whiscash. I start setting up some bulk ups, which Whiscash decides to match using a couple useless special defense boosting Amnesias. After the third bulk up, Whiscash uses Water Pulse, which isn't rain boosted anymore. Brick Break picks up the KO on the following turn. Juan sends out Kingdra next, which has the moves Water Pulse, Ice Beam, Double Team, and Rest. Kingdra uses Double Team, and Brick Break misses. It was at this point I realized that I probably should have had Hariyama forget a different move instead of Vital Throw, which would have ignored evasion and accuracy checks. Kingdra uses a second Double Team, but a now 60% accurate Brick Break lands, knocking it out. Hariyama is faster than both Celio and Crawdaunt, so 2 more Brick Breaks earn me the Rain Badge. For real this time. The final act of the game involves traveling through Victory Road and defeating the Elite Four. I travel southeast from Sootopolis, climb up a waterfall, and reach Evergrande City. Feels like a bit much to call this a city, given that there's only a Pokemon Center, a cave, and a Pokemon League building which contains another Pokemon Center. The first trainer to fight in Victory Road is Wally, who has 5 Pokemon, starting with Altaria. Fake Out subtracts 15%, and I switch to Blastoise the following turn. Altaria uses Safeguard to protect its team from status effects, then feints to Ice Beam. Wally sends out Magneton, which has Thunderbolt, a move none of my Pokemon resist. I let Heracross take the hit, which is surprisingly weak for a 95 base power move coming from a Pokemon with a base special attack stat of 120. I probably should have given it a Cherry Berry to account for the paralysis chance, but no harm, no foul. Brick Break knocks out Magneton, leading to Wally sending out his ace, Gardevoir. I switch to Xatu, as Gardevoir uses Future Sight, a move that will deal damage 2 turns after it is used. Shadow Ball does about 70% to Gardevoir, which boosts its evasion with Double Team. Aerial Ace ignores evasion modifiers, but misses out on the KO by 1 or 2 hit points. Psychic does a ton of damage, but the Future Sight fails. In this game, it's a 90% accurate move. When this 10% chance happens, the game says that the move fails rather than misses due to some oversight or bug. I am in critical hit range now, but a critical hit would be pretty bad for all of my other Pokemon, so there's no point in switching out. I Aerial Ace on the turn that Wally heals, and hopefully can now land a 75% accurate Shadow Ball within one of the next 2 turns. The first Shadow Ball misses, letting Gardevoir use Future Sight again. Shadow Ball lands on the next turn, KOing Gardevoir. Future Sight's damage is based on the damage it would have done to Xatu, so I don't have to worry about taking a super effective Psychic type hit or anything like that. However, I do have to worry about this Delcatty using Assist to pull Dragon Dance, boosting its attack and speed. Assist is a move that randomly pulls another move from your other Pokemon. Delcatty puts Hariyama to sleep the next turn, but doesn't deal enough damage to make a difference in my game plan. Hariyama eventually wakes up and takes out Delcatty with Brick Break. Wally's last Pokemon is Roselia, which Heracross traits attacks well with. Leech Seed sucks up an eighth of Heracross's HP per turn, but Strength does too much damage for it to matter. 2 strengths knock out Roselia to complete the battle. The rest of Victory Road is pretty simple to get through, and I reach the Pokemon League about 15 minutes later. Now to make the final preparations before the Elite Four. I finish EV training all my Pokemon, pick up the team for Psychic and Victory Road, and get a Silk Scarf from Dewford Town. A Silk Scarf boosts the power of normal type attacks by 10%, which isn't a lot, but is absolutely necessary to guarantee some KOs. Above Moss Deep City, I enter Shoal Cave to collect ingredients that can create a Shell Bell. This item heals the user's HP by 1/8 of the damage it deals to an opposing Pokemon. I also picked up a Never Melt Ice along the way, which is like the Silk Scarf but for Ice-type attacks. I pick up various healing items in the wild since I can't buy them, and head over to Mount Pyre to find a wild Vulpix. I find one under level 29 to avoid getting burned by a potential flamethrower, and switch into Heracross. Vulpix goes for Will-O-Wisp, and Heracross's Guts has been activated, boosting its attack by 50%. I run away to Victory Road, where I teach Xatu Psychic and Heracross Facade. Facade is a 70 base power normal type attack that doubles in power when the user is burned, poisoned, or paralyzed. Same condition as for Guts. I taught Heracross Attract as well, as it can potentially immobilize an opponent. Could be useful in an emergency, you never know. I give Heracross the Shell Bell, Blastoise the EXP share, and the Focus Band to Hariyama. The Focus Band stops a move from KOing the holder 10% of the time. Again, you never know. I switch Heracross to the front of my party and dive in. Sydney has 5 Pokemon weak to fighting type attacks. Mightyena has Intimidate though, basically bringing Heracross's attack to a neutral state. Doesn't really matter, as Brick Break KOs Mightyena, Shiftry, Absol, Crawdaunt, and Cacturne in 1 hit each. Blastoise hit level 56 thanks to the EXP share, making it more potent during the next battle against Phoebe. I give the Mystic Water to Blastoise and enter the next room. Phoebe uses Ghost types, though 2 of the 5 Pokemon she has are duplicates. Her first Dusclops is guaranteed to use Protect on the first turn, letting me use a free Rain Dance. Using attacks against Dusclops wastes double the power points due to its ability, Pressure. Thanks to the Mystic Water, Extra Level, and Rain, Surf knocks out Dusclops in 1 hit, even through its ridiculous bulk. Phoebe's first Banette, second Banette, and Sableye all meet the same fate. Rain stops before her Ace arrives. I don't want to waste too many of Surf's power points, so I have Blastoise use Waterfall, a slightly weaker water-type move with a 20% chance to flinch. No such flinch occurs, and Dusclops' Shadow Ball hits like a duck. Surf KOs the second Dusclops to win the second battle. Glacia and her Ice types are next, but like Phoebe, she also has duplicates. Heracross should be able to destroy everything like against Sydney though. Brick Break KOs Celio 1, Glalie 1, Celio 2, Glalie 2, and Walrein 1. It's been smooth sailing so far, but the last 2 fights will probably involve some sort of switching. I swap Blastoise to the front of the party, heal it with a Hyper Potion, give the Silk Scarf to Heracross, take the Mystic Water away from Blastoise, and finally give it the Shell Bell. I thought about giving it the Never Melt Ice, but the calcs seem to not make it matter that much. Drake has 5 Dragon types, 4 of which Ice Beam can KO. He leads with Shelgon, which usually uses Protect on turn 1 from my experience. However, no Protect is used and Ice Beam picks up the 1 at KO. Altaria is 4 times weak to Ice Beam, so it faints to 1 as well. Drake sends out Kingdra, which will either use Body Slam, Dragon Dance, or Smokescreen. I switch in Heracross. Kingdra uses Body Slam, which cannot paralyze Heracross due to it already being burned. Facade KOs Kingdra thanks to the Silk Scarf, and Drake sends out Flygon. The only move it has that can KO Heracross is Flamethrower, so I can switch to Blastoise safely. Unfortunately, it burns me, leading to Blastoise taking 21 more damage than necessary. Thanks to EV training Blastoise in speed, Flygon gets outsped and goes down to Ice Beam. Losing another 21 HP before fighting Drake's Ace isn't great. I think I survive a Dragon Claw critical hit though, so I should be in the clear. Dragon Claw takes out about 30% of Blastoise's HP, and Salamence falls to Ice Beam the next turn. I heal up my Pokemon, switch out Mr. Hands' Focus Band for a Quick Claw, which gives it a 20% chance to move first on any given turn, give the Focus Band to Xatu, and the Shell Bell back to Heracross. I teach Hariyama Rock Tomb over Secret Power, and Heracross Earthquake over Retract. Wallace has the toughest team of the Elite Four by far, with several bulky Water-type Pokemon. He leads with Wailord, which will always live Facade. It should either use Water Spout or Rain Dance in response, neither of which I'm worried about. Water Spout's base power is equivalent to the percent HP the user has remaining times 1.5, so if Wailord is at 10%, it would have a base power of 15. Facade deals about 80%, and Wailord uses Water Spout. Wallace burns one of his 4 full restores. Wallace won't use another healing item on this Pokemon, so using any combination of 2 attacks to KO Wailord should be fine. I would have gotten the most HP back for Megahorn as it would have KO'd Wailord in one hit, using up only 1 turn of burn damage in the process. However, it's only 85% accurate. Whiscash comes out next, and Facade does about 80% again. Whiscash uses a useless Amnesia, so Earthquake KOs it the next turn. Wallace sends out Tentacruel, which feints to a super effective Earthquake. Wallace's final 3 Pokemon are Ludicolo, Gyarados, and Melodic. Gyarados will be the toughest Pokemon for me to deal with due to its ability Intimidate, its typing, and its ability to boost speed and damage using Dragon Dance. Facade is a very likely KO on Ludicolo, but Brick Break should put it in range of a healing item. Unfortunately, I had an oversight and forgot to account for Leech Seed, which would bring Ludicolo back above healing range. This forces me to switch out in order to preserve Heracross's health. Ludicolo goes for Double Team, which is fortunately irrelevant to Xatu because of Aerial Ace. Wallace sends out Melodic next because of Ice Beam. I'm fine with sacrificing Xatu at this point, so I just stay in until I eventually use Wish. It's hard to tell exactly when Xatu will faint because of the toxic damage though, so I'll probably have to switch out instead of letting Xatu faint. After I get the Wish up, I just need Heracross to survive 1 attack, which it should do barring a critical hit. Ice Beam does not crit, and the burn damage activates only after the Wish healing. I'll probably have to risk 1 more critical hit, but I think Hariyama should be able to take out Melodic even if Heracross faints. Facade deals 90% to Melodic, and Heracross regains enough HP to take a Surf. There's no critical hit, and I should be in the clear for Melodic. I want to put Blastoise in position to fight Gyarados, since my guaranteed win condition should be dealing some chip damage and eventually forcing Gyarados to use Hyper Beam, wasting its next turn and letting Heracross knock it out with Facade. I switch in Blastoise, which takes nothing from Surf. Melodic will not click Recover there, since Heracross is in KO range. Blastoise takes out Melodic, and out comes Gyarados. Gyarados ups its attack and speed with Dragon Dance as Blastoise deals 25% with Ice Beam. The same events occur during the next turn as well. Gyarados uses Earthquake to leave Blastoise with 38 HP remaining, while Ice Beam brings Gyarados into healing range. Even if Gyarados had KO'd Blastoise with a normal Earthquake, Xatu would have forced a Hyper Beam the next turn due to both being immune to Earthquake and out of KO range from Surf. Heracross's burn leaves it at 10 HP remaining, Gyarados recharges, and one last Facade crowns Mr. Beast the champion. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please remember to like and subscribe if so. Feedback's always appreciated as well, so comment what you liked and didn't like about the video. Thanks for watching.